Welcome everyone to the Answers on Video series. I'm Axel Threlfall. I'm here in London with Lucinda Case, Managing Director of the UK and Ireland legal business at Thomson Reuters, for her thoughts on the rapidly changing landscape facing legal professionals today. To provide us with some context for the conversation, I'd like to share parts of an interview I conducted with Gideon Moore in Davos at the World Economic Forum earlier this year. He is managing partner of Linklaters, one of the world's largest and most prestigious law firms. I asked him how Linklaters perceived the last year, if the environment for the legal business has become more challenging, and given the world events over those 12 months, what priorities have changed for lawyers?
I think that this time last year, people were looking forward to, certainly from a UK perspective, the Brexit referendum being held, and then we could carry on with our business as usual. That didn't come to pass. And then, of course, the US presidency was the other big issue that people were looking forward to discussing, and then again carrying on with what they perceived to be sort of business as usual. And of course, we all know the outcome of those two issues, and we're having to deal with that now.
So, Lucinda, no great surprises that Brexit and the US election were picked out there by Gideon. What are our clients here in Europe telling you about their priorities based on what's happened?
Their main priority, as you can imagine, is Brexit right now. I think the law firms sitting in London really looking ahead as to how much business is going to remain in London once the full exit happens. Short term, there's lots of good work for them, as you can imagine, advising the financial institutions who are trying to work out whether they need to establish themselves elsewhere in Europe, what they need to do, etc. And also, once I think the nature of the exit becomes clearer, advising companies on contracts and with particularly, when the trade and tariff rules change.
Which is all going to be very lucrative for them, right?
Which is going to be lucrative for them. But I think longer term, they are more pessimistic because, how much business is going to be looking to invest in London, is going to look to relocate to London, etc. So, and they can have sort of limited influence on that. But what they can really influence, and I think we'll begin to see a campaign around, is how do we protect the primacy of English law? How do we continue to make London the place to come and settle your international disputes, because it is an absolute leading centre right now for dispute resolution, arbitration.
Sure. And would you say our big clients and big clients like Linklaters are, that's one of their main worries?
Yes, it really is. And I said they're throwing, Gideon's predecessor at Linklaters, the former managing partner, is leading a Brexit law committee. And I said it's really looking at English law as a product. You probably never expect to hear lawyers talking about law as a product, but really looking at, to put a campaign around how do we protect that? How do we make sure that global contracts going forward continue to be governed by English law? So, yeah, a lot of work going on and with some really impressive legal minds behind it right now.
Okay. Clearly, the speed of change is unparalleled, driven by a number of factors, not least the political developments across the world. We're going to find out now what specific actions clients are taking to mitigate this change, and then we'll hear from Lucinda again. This is what Gideon Moore had to say.
I think for most of us, because it became much clearer as a result of that, the speed of change that we could expect, and therefore it allowed me to go back and hopefully sort of better prepare ourselves. You can't sit King Canute-like and pretend it's not happening. No. It is happening. I think it's just a question of time and what the practical implications for our industry will be.
Again, Lucinda, okay, so specific actions taken by firms. What are we seeing, do you think, across the board?
What we're seeing, I think, is law firms like Linklaters being very responsive to the in-house legal departments who really hold the balance of power right now, who are saying to these law firms, we're not prepared to pay the prices we used to pay. You've got to deliver legal services differently, more smartly, more efficiently. So we're seeing firms like Linklaters responding to that, sort of aligning themselves with other providers, maybe cheaper providers, to do part of the work. Whereas before an M&A transaction, they would have done the whole piece with the big four, maybe doing a little piece.
So more collaboration.
Absolutely more collaboration, bringing teams on. And I think they say that, going forward, we're going to see many more of these sort of law firm partners acting as like a team captain, but bringing in other professionals to look after the client.
Okay. So there's a fairly uniform approach, it seems, to the pace. Priorities are changing. Here's a clip from Gideon where he talks about the actions of more of the specific actions that Linklaters is taking.
We've set up an innovations group, really because I thought it was important that organisations like Linklaters actually managed to look at it from a holistic perspective, to encourage everyone in the organisation to think it was part of their duty to volunteer thoughts, how we can become more innovative. We've got projects whereby we are developing artificial intelligence to help our business, to help our clients' business. So I'm really excited about it, and actually it provides, I think, a really feel-good factor within the organisation.
People will probably be really surprised to hear a lawyer saying he's excited about technology, but I do think that's where the law firms are, particularly the ones with budgets to invest like Linklaters, really seeing about what the potential is. Law firms are still spending something like 4 or 5% of their revenues on technology, which you'd probably say is small, but we're definitely seeing that a growing number year on year. And I said we're definitely seeing them embrace new technologies. There's a lot of AI tools coming out. Linklaters have invested in a couple. And we're also seeing law firms acting as incubators, some firms actually investing in legal tech. So there's something like 1,500 legal tech businesses which have sort of sprung up. And I think the challenge for a firm like Linklaters is, what do they do in-house? Which ones do they buy? Which ones are going to survive? But it's a fascinating industry right now.
I mean, surely you expressed some surprise at that. What Gideon had to say, but surely in the context of the Fourth Industrial Revolution and AI, and you mentioned that. I mean, if you don't get involved in the technology, you're going to be left behind.
Absolutely, but I still think there's a lot of lawyers out there who think what they do is special, is artisan, that only they can do, and there's still a big question about, well, how much work will technology take away from lawyers? What will be left behind? And you hear varying statistics as to what impact it's going to have. And I think we'll see, law firms like Linklaters, they will still be, when you're talking about big litigation, etc., you'll be bringing in the very clever guys like Gideon. You won't be using a machine to do that.
Right.
But there are pieces of the legal sort of workflow that definitely will be automated.
Final question to you, and it's more about us at Thomson Reuters. What are we doing in terms of the way the sorts of products, the sorts of services we offer to our clients to appeal to the millennial generation, to keep one step ahead, if you like?
I think the great place we're in is we sort of sit at the sort of centre of this industry. I said we serve the sell side, the buy side, the new legal providers, so we sort of can see the whole spectrum, and work out, listen to all that noise and try and make sense of it. And what we are doing is that we have the content, we have tools, we have a services business as well. We have so offshore lawyers we can bring to it. So talking more and more to the law firms about how we can help them develop compliance tools, etc. I think the baby lawyers still will need our content. I've got a son at law school. We've just launched our website. He said, I love the new website. So to me, that's okay. That's a happy millennial with a new website. But yes, and the other thing I think hopefully we can do is, this is an industry that is perhaps not attracting the best people anymore. There are certainly some quite depressing statistics in the US about the very clever people coming out of college and where they're going, not to law school in the same numbers that they did. So I think there's a feeling that as an industry, as a legal industry, can we help them actually make this a place where the millennials want to come, or the next generation coming through. So It's exciting.
Lucinda, thank you very much indeed. Lucinda Case, Managing Director of the UK and Ireland legal business here at Thomson Reuters. That was the latest instalment in the Answers on video series. I'm Axel Threlfall. This is Reuters.